Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Elaine Hall-Corbin, your host, and welcome to Artists of Color, a program that talks about artists and cultural organizations and artists of all ranges through the Roxbury and Lower Dorchester community. Thank you for joining us today. I have a special guest, and I always say that to all of my guests because all of them are very special to me because they're artists of one form or another, or they're also cultural organizations of one form or another. And that's my passion. I've always wanted to make sure that communities of color are out there in the world, in the city, across wherever we need to be in order to talk about our art, our artists, and our culture. So today I do have a special guest. I have Ms. Alda Marshall Witherspoon from WIN, with the Witherspoon Institute.
Yes.
And I am so happy you're with me today.
Thank you for
Thank you,
having
Alda.
me.
Yeah, it works. You know, I remember when we met. You know, that was a very, very long time.
Ooh, that?
Yeah, girl.
Ooh.
That was when I started my publication. And I used to call you downtown because at that time you were the director of tourism and entertainment for the mayor's office down there.
Right, I was
That's
director of Park
yeah.
Arts or
whatever
one
it
of
was.
those, one of those titles.
There you go. And look at you now. All the stuff you've been doing, I never knew you were doing until I heard about the play.
Yes.
Unto This House. So who?
Yes.
Alda's doing this? I didn't know. I didn't, and I read a little bit about you on your little site there, and I said, oh wow, she's doing so much stuff I don't even know about, and as long as I've known her.
That happens to a lot of people. I've had various different lives, and depending on when you met me, you know one thing or the other.
Tell me, I want to start with Unto This House, and we're going to backtrack from there.
Okay.
What made you want to write this particular play?
Okay, so Unto This House, I was committed at my church, New Hope Baptist Church.
Oh, okay.
Yes, under the direction of Kenneth Sims and First Lady Shireen Sims. And Shireen Sims decided that she wanted to do a play for the women's, month.
Oh,
and right, and so she asked me, because I'm a playwright, right? She knew I was a playwright, to write a piece for them that was original. And it was a short little 30-minute piece, but I decided it needed to be a musical, so I wrote a few little musical numbers. And we had some costume, Sister Sykes, who was at the church, so we did our thing.
Did your thing.
And so the pastor was like, ooh, Alda, this is like so fabulous. We've got to make this a 2-hour thing. We've got to take this to the public.
You really got to.
And so I said, oh, thank you, Pastor. Thinking he was just being polite, but in January he called me up and he was like, come on, we're doing it. Let's go. Let's get the team. And I was like, all right then. So we put ourselves together and tied it up in a bow, and Madison Park Community Development Corp invited us to come over to Hibernian Hall and to do our presentation, and there we went.
You sure did. You sure did. How did now, I know you wrote the play. When you start writing a play like that, what does it take in body, mind, and spirit? Because I know it does.
Yeah, it's a lot. Well, for that particular piece, because it was the context of the Bible, I had to get biblical. So I had to get into the scripture, see where the storyline went, see where it didn't go, see what I could backfill, because as with any good story in ancient times, we didn't live there, but we have to sort of piece the thing together to make it, palatable where we are today. And so one of the things I did with that story was actually start way before Jesus was born, and I was dealing with Herod the King and the whole political aspect of this coming of Christ. Who, we always do the story, that Mary had this baby and oh, what a wonderful Christmas. I kind of backed it up and talked about, what was going on with the governor and the mayor of the town and how the Magi, influenced the whole story. So I did a whole spin on, the coming of Jesus, and then I pointed at the very end that he's here.
I love it. And I've only seen bits and pieces.
Yes.
So I have not production, I must admit that.
Okay.
But this year I do intend to see it.
Yes, yes, yes.
I definitely do.
Yes. So we plan on doing it as a Christmas production this year, but our hopes is that we're actually going to take it on the road next year.
Really?
Yeah, looking to actually take it out of the Christmas zone
Okay.
and have it as a year-round production that we actually put on the road. Yeah, that's where we're going with that.
That is interesting. Wow. 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 All right. We've gotten that one out of the way. How long have you been a poet?
Actually, I've been a poet probably longer than people might imagine because I was a shy poet. Although I was a singer, and most people as such, my poetry was very personal. It was in my top drawer, and next to my socks. It was like, it was like me and my poetry. But when I came back from LA, I lived out there for about 5 years.
You did.
When I came back from LA, I ended up at TT the Bears.
Yes.
Yeah, out in Cambridge.
Yep.
Right, doing poetry. And then I was at the Wang Center. I was doing poetry. So I was doing this big thing around poetry, which I got tapped to become a playwright because Terrell Calloway discovered me, right, walking down the street. Yeah, I was at his club singing. And I didn't have a car at the time, and I was like, Terrell, give me a ride. And he was like, yeah, jump in. So I get in the car, and I was like, well, I do poetry now. He was like, Alda, you're a singer. Get out of here. You're not a poet. Yeah. And I was like, no, for real, I'm a poet. He was like, let me hear something. So I recited this poem called Her Black Mind. And it went a little bit like this.
I was going to ask you.
She sat on her black bed in her black mind, next to her black coat, which hung on the wall, and pondered, what? Her blackness. Her black man, her black mama, her black baby, which lived on the back of her black mind, and the what-ifs began to rise out of the ashes which lay burnt, undisturbed to be confronted. I am love, her confirmation rang, assuring her the connection, her oneness with the trees, the green, the brown, the earth. The dream of paradise, she began, is the ground which I stand for. Green is the color of healing, renewing of money and energy. Brown is the earth, grounding, connection of energy, of truth, she said, within her mind. And she guessed what of her black mind. So he screeched to a halt.
Yeah, and I'm about to screech, run right alongside him.
I think you could write a play. And I was like, really, Terrell? Because he was kind of off into, thinking about this whole Tyler Perry thing, right? Tyler Perry was like big at this time and everything. And he was like, you could really write a play. So I went out to LA. I guess I decided I still lived here. So I went and I got my car, right? And I drove my stuff back. I was like, I got to meet with you. And I was like, okay. So 5 hours later, he convinced me I was a playwright. So he put Lois Roach around me. He put Naheem around me. Naheem Garcia, Valerie Stevens.
Yeah, my girl.
I mean, like all the
you
good
got
juicy
everybody
people.
that was in Boston. There you go.
Jackie
Parker. See,
she was in it. I mean, like I had them all, right? So we launched Back to Black, and it was a huge success, regionally. And then from that, actually, the mayor's office tapped me to come and work with them with their productions. And that's kind of how that whole thing went. Yep.
I'm going to say this one time. I thought I knew her. That's all I got to say. I thought I knew her. Oh, my, that was amazing. That piece was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you.
So are you still writing?
So
I'm
still
doing poetry?
So let's fast forward. So I did the piece, Unto This House, and I concluded that. And there was John Jackson, who is the leader of the, what do you call that at my church, the security. He decided that he wanted me to come help him at the Tobin, because he's actually the manager of the Tobin. And they just built stage in their backyard.
Yes, let's talk about
this $1 million stage they put in their backyard. And but he needed some help programming. So about a year ago, he asked me to come and help him with that. And so I was so inundated with Unto This House, I said, kind of get myself together with that. And then fast forward, January, I landed in there, and we've been doing this wonderful musical that I've just written called Wise.
Well, we're going to talk about Wise. But we're going to backtrack, and let's see a piece from Unto This House.
Okay.
So we're going to have this little video coming up, everybody.
Nice.
Do watch.
Good morning, children. Good morning, yes, good morning. What wonders of the world do the Magi bring? All across the city do they rise to sing the glorious marvels of wishes and wisdom are a song sung on every tongue. Beautiful. Yes.
Well, welcome back to Artists of Color. I'm Elaine Hall-Corbin, your host, and my guest is Alda Marshall Witherspoon. Alda, that was great.
Oh, thank you.
That was amazing. They are so beautiful and so precious. When you did auditions
Yes.
for a house, did you do it community-wide? Did you just
do it
put it out there?
community-wide. I put it out there. I asked various different people. I went to churches. I put out audition slips. We did like 4 or 5 different sets of auditions. Yeah.
It was beautiful. They were amazing. They were so beautiful and so precious. I love the lighting.
Yes.
The lighting was absolutely
yes,
amazing.
yes.
I really liked it.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah, he did a
Yeah, we had
marvelous-
a great team. Tony Cato did the set. There was, let's see, Derek Quest was there. Elisa Chandler, she did the choreography with Joe May. Do you know Joe from Joe May? Joe Gonzalez. He's
Okay,
he's
yeah, I
a big
do.
fancy dancer. Naheem actually was the narrator, the original narrator
Really?
of the play last year, or rather the year before last. And then Derek Quest came in this year
did that.
because I changed the role to a singer.
Oh.
Right. And
Oh, so that's okay.
Right, yeah. So Naheem was like, I don't sing, Alda. I was like, no,
I can
come
hear
on,
Naheem
you sing
too.
at my
'Cause I know
rehearsals. He
that-
was private. I'm not singing in
Naheem's a-
public,
I-
so
he
that's
did
not
that.
happening. So, yeah.
Oh,
But
wow.
then he sent me Derek, so which is
Oh, well,
delicious.
then that's worked out well
yeah,
for
that
you.
worked out well.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we have a really terrific team.
Yeah, there you go. We've talked about poetry.
Yes.
We've talked about Unto This House. I've discovered you lecture.
Oh, yes. Oh, that other life.
I wonder about that other life. See, I've got all your lives, and I'm ready to go through all of them. Tell me about that life.
Yeah, so basically I started lecturing once the city of Boston sort of tapped me.
Yeah.
Lecturing about my playwriting and thus and such at Boston University, Boston Conservatory, Suffolk University. I mean, I definitely made a wide variety of rounds to a bunch of different organizations, authorities, schools.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, to talk about theater. To talk about theater and talk about poetry, talk about the relevance of art in the city. It's really important to keep that conversation going so that people really understand, what it takes to put, a production together. This stuff doesn't just go poof out of nowhere, you have to raise a lot of money, you have to have a lot of, energy behind you. I have a board, a very energized board, Gail Scott from Down Home Delivery and her husband. Okay. Gary Webster, big supporters. Shirley Shillingford from the Caribbean Festival. She's a big supporter. Keith Motley, former chancellor of UMass Boston. He is a big supporter. Charlotte Goulart-Ritchie,
of course.
We have a whole bunch of support behind us, just helping us think through the piece, and how to navigate the waters, because this stuff is, it's very political, and then it's very cultural. There's a whole cultural aspect to it, and then there's the community piece of it, and there's the marketing aspect. I mean, it's amazing all of what you need to touch on in order to have a tight production.
Absolutely. So we know you do that. I'm going to ask you, what you're doing? I've noticed Poetry Unto This House, a new production you've got called Wise, which we haven't gotten to yet, but in a minute. You started an institute.
All right, so that happened out of default. What happened really was I belonged to this organization called Jack and Jill. I am now a graduated member, because with Jack and Jill you have a child, and it's a mother's group. And once your child reaches 18 and graduates out of high school, you then become, graduated mother. Wow, so you still belong to a sort of a retired collective of us, because we still remain a group even after your child, graduates. But they asked me to come and do some big fancy affair, right? Known for big productions.
Big fancy affairs.
Right, exactly. So they were like, oh, come do this big fancy affair. And so I came up with a children's ball. So we had this big, fantastic children's ball at Lombardo's, all the gorgeous gowns and everything, from all kids, all the way from knee high all the way up to 18. And so it was just a fantastic affair. So we decided we weren't going to do it the following year. But I felt like that it needed to keep going. Yes. And that the community could perhaps get of something of this nature. And so I selfishly put together the organization, because I wanted my son to grow up around other children that had etiquette, how to eat, how to walk, how to penmanship, how to speak in public, all this stuff. And so my son grew up from like age 9, and you could see him in all his little black ties, growing all the way up until, he graduated. He was like the Prince Charming. Like, everybody invited him to their affairs, because he knew how to do the waltz, he knew how to do the cha-cha, he knew how to do the tango. I mean, this kid, he was like James Bond or something, this guy. So, but I wanted everybody in the community to be that way as well. So everyone around his whole age group, the next door neighbor, the kid down the street, the community centers. So I did it at the, Boys and Girls Club. I did it at the YMCA. I did it with Andrea Swain. Andrea Swain actually sits on our board. She's a big supporter. So I grew up a whole, I got like 27-year-olds walking around who went through the whole process of the Witherspoon Institute. We 13 years, so.
You have?
Yes, we've been around for a while. But now what's different is that I decided to do theater arts with it. That's what's different now. We've kind of morphed into this whole theater arts piece. So now we're teaching dancing, acting, and theater production.
Amazing.
At the Tobin Center.
Amazing.
Yes.
who we're going to take a break.
Okay.
And when we come back, we're going to Wise now, because I think we need to talk about that. At least get started. Tell us about Wise.
Yes. So, John Jackson, back to New Hope Baptist Church, right?
Okay.
He's the leader of the security team there. He decided that he'd come help him with the Tobin Center.
Okay.
And so he thought that theater, could be a good avenue, particularly with this new stage that they have, because the Tobin is really known for their sports. I mean, they're a huge sports center.
And see, that's what I was known
Exactly. But with the advent of this new, production out in his backyard, he's like, I got to, do some programming around that.
Yes.
Exactly. And so he asked me to come. And he actually asked me to come and do a small theater piece. But, I don't do small. It's not in my bones. I don't know what's wrong with me. I mean, I just, the little. So I said, listen, we got to bring, Naheem Garcia over there. We got to bring, Derek Quay, bring, Joe May over there. We got to bring the stuff.
Yeah, because there is she don't do small. She does not do small. I'm here to tell you. I know this.
So we started, organizing the kids in the neighborhood, and we have folks that come as far as Medford,
Really?
Yeah, to come to Wise. But we still don't have a few cast members, so I'm putting this out to the public that we are looking for some boys, particularly who do theater. Hopefully they sing also, but we really need some males as part of our production. So we've been kind of trying to figure that out.
So what is Wise?
So Wise is a cross between, I'd say, The Wiz and Harry Potter.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, now I got The Wiz, and I got the Harry Potter.
Yes.
Okay, I'm lost. Because I seriously want to know how you're going to how that's being put together.
Yes.
Wiz.
So Wise, his name is Winston Wise, and he's a 15-year-old genius who belongs to this genius program out at MIT. Right. So we have 5-year-olds, we have 7-year-olds, we have 10-year-olds, we have all the way up to 8-year-olds playing these mitons who come from MIT. That's what I call them. And yes, and so of course Winston Wise is in the lab, and an accident happens, and a potion falls down, and he becomes a superhero.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we have a natural born superhero here in Boston.
In Boston, we got a superhero. Oh my.
Yes.
So does he? So I want to know, you're still putting this together?
So I'm still putting it together. So this phase that we're in now, and I came through this production series, right, of doing things in threes. So this is like phase of Wise, right? So it's in workshops. So what we're going to present in mid-July on the Outdoor Tobin stage is the first act of Wise. So we have about 5 songs that we're putting in there. In fact, I think I sent you a clip, but I'm not sure you actually got it right. Matter
of fact, we're going to see that in a little bit.
Right. The Mitons did this song called the Monster Dance that we put on we put Facebook, and we've gotten 1.7 thousand hits in 13 days.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. Melissa and Derek have been working with these kids to do this monster dance thing. Right.
Monster dance.
The monster dance.
The monster dance.
Yep.
Well, in a minute, we are going to actually go to a break, and when we come back, I want folks to see a few pieces, pictures of this, because I really want to come. So you're going to be doing it. You're going to be doing the first act in July.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, as a cliffhanger.
So it's definitely going to be a cliffhanger.
With all these wonderful, fanciful characters. Yep, we have a big, protagonist and an antagonist, and they're going to clash heads. And she's called the Cube.
The Cube. Well, we're going to go to a break and talk about this when we come back. The Cube. Oh my God. Hey, listen, Miss Alda, we got you up here with these folks, the protagonist and the
antagonist.
Yes. Tell us this piece right.
Okay, so this is like the costumes and the characters. This is Winston Wise himself, because it's kind of based off a cartoon.
Yes.
The way that we're doing the production, we'll have a large screen and it will act as the narrator. You know, on cartoons, the bubble.
Yes.
And they talk through the bubble.
Bubble, yep.
Right. So it has that sort of pop feel to it. They call it pop art. So it has a pop art feel to the whole production.
Oh, amazing, amazing.
And this is the distress, Kelly Ritchie, who, what happens is that damsel in distress.
You okay?
I mean, we're teaching theater here, so we got to make sure we have all
the damsel in distress. Gotta have
distress. You got to have one of those, right? And so our big antagonist, her name is the Cube, right?
Okay.
The Ice Witch. And the Ice Witch steals Telly's sister and brother as ransom.
Okay.
For these jewels. She's a master jewel thief.
Okay. So there's got to be a little work done here.
So what happens is that Telly actually, when she's running from the Cube's henchmen, she down these concrete stairs under the Mass Ave Bridge, and she bumps her head, and she gets brought to Winston Wise's lab at MIT, and that's how they're introduced.
Oh.
Right. The homeless people call it Wise because Winston Wise is so cool. He gives the homeless people, you know, food and money, and he gives them a cell phone in case something's wrong. So they call Winston Wise.
How to call Winston.
Come to the rescue. So he came to the rescue and got Telly. And so when she leaves lab, she's unconscious, and they wake her up through what they call this dreamscape. So when she does, it's kind of like an animated a life. So if she sees you as a bad person, you could have horns or, you know, or something, you know. And so the way that they do it, they're all tied into her psychically. And so when they come back, they see the trolls. So the homeless people turn into the trolls in her dreamscape.
What?
Yes. And like the baby trolls, because remember, we got 5-year-olds in this production.
That's right.
So they're gonna, you know, we have
that.
that.
Oh, they must be amazing.
Yep.
Oh my God, they must be amazing.
Totally charming.
Hey, awesome.
Yep.
Who's,
so that's the
who's
baby troll.
the red horns?
The red horns.
See them there?
Yep. So these are some costume concepts.
Oh,
you know,
okay.
We're
You're just
thinking about, you know, what the hair could look
to...
like, what the clothing could look like.
Who's doing your costumes?
We actually have not solidified our costume designer yet. Yep. So this is on the right-hand side. That's the Cube. That's her costume.
Cube? Okay.
And on the left side is her husband, Amalgam. Amalgam. So it's actually a technical word. You know, I'm a wordsmith because of being a playwright, right? So amalgam is when you fuse different objects together.
Okay.
Right, and in this case, this is mirrors. So he's kind of like a mirror man.
Okay.
So he reflects off of everything that he's around.
Amalgam.
And that's her husband. So she's the Cube and he's Amalgam.
I have to see this.
And this is the Cube's, that's her court. Right?
Her who?
Her court.
Her court.
Right, her royal court.
Oh my goodness.
Well, look at she has ninjas that, you know, protect her court. And the kids are actually learning some techniques. We have a...
you have a martial artist?
Yep, we have his name is Puma.
I never heard it. I think I met him a couple of times too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And this goes into the dance. These are like some of the costumes they'll be wearing as the monsters, because the Cube steals little children and turns them into monsters. Right, and then she has them do her bidding. So yeah, that Cube.
She sure is. I love them.
Yep.
Absolutely. Uh-oh.
And that's some more costume concepts.
So you're still working through concepts of what you're going to...
Right, because it's a workshop. Right.
The workshop. It is a workshop. Are all the young people, everybody that's involved, are they part of what the end result is going to be?
Absolutely. Okay, and so I go through all of these things with them, and we look at various concepts together. We talk about, you know, aspects of the production, because that's one of the things that they learn as well, how to produce a production of this nature. And so this is the Mighton's lab suit. Like, these are some concepts around what they'll be wearing in the lab itself.
Mighton's lab suit.
Yes, the Mighty Mountains.
You're not kidding. This is so amazing. Yeah.
Yep, and some more lab costumes, some possibilities.
Yeah.
I'm looking at some
Everything
lab
is-
coats. Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. Rather whether they could be long as opposed to short.
Short.
I'm playing with that idea, and then on the right hand side, the kind of the wetsuit. What
Yep.
they could wear while they're going to beat up the cubes.
The cubes.
Henchmen.
Yes, they need something.
They need something.
You can't just let them out there. I love this.
Yes, and that's our logo.
I love it.
You love it?
I really do.
Yay!
I really do.
Yay!
I don't know if it's it's like it's twirling like almost like a hurricane or a storm.
Mm-hmm.
And then since it's, wise,
Yes.
it works.
Yes, yes, yes.
It really works.
Yay!
I
Thank
do.
you.
I think it's amazing. I can't.
So that's the kind of feedback that we need, So we
Okay.
put our different, costume ideas out, and the logo looks like, and the characters, do they work, do they not work, are they too animated, are they not animated enough, and that's all the stuff we're working through right now.
Okay. All right. Have you gotten? Well, I know you're working through different ideas as far as costume but as far as the production itself, I'm probably going to ask, and you told me I told you this, but has it totally been written out?
So I've written Act 1.
You've just done Act 1.
I've just done Act 1.
You haven't even thought about Act 2 yet.
I haven't even thought about Act 2. That is not a thought on my mind because it's like so encompassing what we have already.
Yes.
That's enough to think of, really
Okay.
is, and to work through all those pieces. And because I'm doing it in 3 phases,
Yes.
it doesn't make sense to write out the whole thing.
I understand
Yeah,
that.
I'm
That's
going
true.
one step at a time. This is phase 1.
Okay.
Yes. So we're at the cliff. We're going to leave everybody at the cliff. And you
then
have to come
we're
back
waiting. We gotta come back.
That's right. You got to come
Sorry,
back.
everybody. Once the cliffhanger happens, you gotta wait. You gotta come back because we gotta see what's gonna happen after that.
That's right. That's right.
I love this.
Yes, yes, yes.
I really-
So we're probably only going to do like 2 performances of it.
Okay.
We'll probably do one for the camp that's at the Tobin during
right.
the daytime,
During the
and then
daytime?
in the evening we'll invite the community to come.
Okay.
Right.
That'd
Yeah.
be good.
It's a beautiful outdoor
I
green
wanna
grass.
see
It's
that.
It's gorgeous back there. What they've done with this is really phenomenal.
See, I didn't know what was going on back there.
I know.
Who
knew?
Thank you. Because I write there because I write past that place all the time.
Yes.
I go to see my daughter who lives in Brookline.
Okay.
And I always wonder, is there anything back there?
Yes, yes.
I always wondered.
It's a whole oasis back there. It's absolutely gorgeous. The city has done a fabulous, fabulous job.
Oh, I really want to. Now they have that art. Are they allowing, or is it going to be allowed that folks from the city, different organizations, would be able to use that space?
I'm sure that they'll have other people, come to program the space. I would imagine,
Okay.
I would like to see that as, a person
Because I'm thinking
who's
about
done
people
performing
like
arts all
our
these years.
amazing, I'm thinking about people like our amazing artists like Jackie Parker,
Absolutely.
Valerie Stevens.
Yes, yes, yes.
I'm thinking of people, and they would.
Jackie Parker's in a new production,
I know.
Yeah, she's down at the Huntington Theater.
I know.
I just read about that yesterday. I
too.
was like,
Yesterday,
go girl,
great.
come on, Jackie Parker's back to acting
action,
again.
I'm telling you.
She's a fabulous director.
I know.
I met her as a
Director.
I met her as an actor.
You met her as an actor?
Right, back with Back to Black Women, like I told you.
Oh,
Early in her
okay.
career when she was a young whippersnapper.
Snapper. There you go. Well, I met her, believe it or not, can't remember which birthday now.
Uh-oh.
I met her at one of my birthdays
Oh.
years ago. I happened to see when she was doing the African Theater, the African American Theater Project,
Okay.
and she was doing it down at the Box Theater on Tremont Street next to the Calderwood. And I met her there, the Our Place Theater Company.
Okay.
And they were doing
Where,
a
at the
series.
Panorama?
Yeah, I think right down there on Tremont Street.
Right.
Down there.
Yeah,
And
the cyclorama.
The
I should say.
cyclorama.
Yes.
So I went down there to see one of the productions, and I started going. And her and I kind of,
And that's the thing
we
about
became
theater.
really
You
good friends.
get bit by the bug and you get engaged with the right people,
There you go.
And I tell you, it's a lifelong passion. It's a
it
lifelong of
is.
learning. It's a lifelong of literacy. It's magnificent as a vehicle and as a artistic expression. It has so much,
Yes.
It has the costumes, that part of the art, and it's got the visual aspects. It has song, it's got dance. I mean, it just has everything. Magnificent. I love it.
Yeah, because I like what you're doing. I love the different aspects of where you're going and how you're getting there. This I'm definitely going to see. I got to see this. Matter of fact, I'm going to bring my grandson with me.
Yay!
We would love that.
The children are enamored. They think that it's just magnificent. And that was the whole idea. I wrote this for the children of the community. I wrote this for the Tobin Center itself. I mean, this is a very big project for, this entity. And so you have to think through those pieces, what will be engaging, what will keep them coming back every week. I mean, I work with them 6 hours a week. You have to have something
you got to have something you can
that gets them, keep them coming back.
Like, hey, we got to be here.
Yeah, exactly. So they do rap, they sing, they dance, they act, they do poetry. I mean, these kids are doing. We have modeling. We have them doing the karate. It's a lot. We have them. We're doing everything.
What they're doing.
Yeah.
I really
it's
would
amazing.
love to see what
It's
they're
amazing.
Doing. Oh my God. I am so excited about what you're doing. I seriously am. I noticed I was reading a little bit about you.
Yes.
And I noticed besides community collaborations, I've noticed that you've collaborated with people like former presidents. How did you get to meet Bill Clinton?
I've been in politics a long time. I mean, working at the mayor's office.
I know. But that's an interesting piece, right?
I've met some very interesting people.
And John
along
Kerry?
The way. Yes. Top-notch, stellar.
Absolutely.
But Bill Clinton, he is an amazing person because you know how they talk about how he remembers everything?
Yes.
This guy, he shook my hand, and I was, you see how I'm stuttering. 20 years later, I'm still stuttering about how Bill Clinton shook my hand because he shot energy into me. I mean, he's like that magnanimous of a person that gives you energy. And he said, I'll be right back. And he went away, and I was like, oh, that was nice.
That was nice.
He came back. He came back and shook my hand again, girl. I tell you, I literally did not wash my hand for a week.
All of a sudden, I've been washing my hand for a week. Oh my God.
No, really, some really magnanimous people.
See?
Yeah. I really feel blessed.
I know you do.
Yeah, but I'd like to take that energy and bring it back to the community because for me, all the things that we've experienced, in our lifetime, we're supposed to move that forward.
Yes, we are.
We really are.
Yes, we are. That's one of the reasons I do this.
Exactly.
This is one of my main, when I started this project, it was funny because I did it in 2006. And that's a story unto itself. And I realized that I still have my publication.
Yes.
It's online.
Okay.
But I still do it. And I'm saying, doing this is still part of what I'm doing in writing, but I'm doing it on a set.
Yes.
And it's a live show.
Yes.
And I want, everybody to see it, all the time. And I always, when I'm ready to do a show, I always put it out there on my Facebook page telling, show's coming, who's the guest going to be, what day and time. And I let everybody know. And it's like, it's amazing because it's artistic.
Yes.
It's cultural.
Yes.
And that's what we do.
That's what we do.
That's what you do.
Exactly.
That's what I do.
Yes.
And it's important.
It is important.
We have to keep our culture going.
We really do.
And I think my idea, the feelings about this is that if we continue to keep the art and the culture going, that maybe we can move some of the violence that's going on with unity out of our community. Maybe we can help our young men and women to see that
channel
there's
their
something,
energy.
that energy needs to be channeled in another direction. And there is a positive way of doing it, So I think about that a lot,
Yes.
And it's just the fact that you're doing what you're doing. And I'm excited for you.
you.
So happy that you're doing this.
It's a lot of work, though.
Oh, please.
It's a
don't
lot
knock
of
it. I
work.
can
Some days I'm
imagine.
like, what am I doing?
When,
What?
like-
Where am I going? What's my name? I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I do.
Okay.
I do because I'm writing a book too. On top of which. it's
Wait
crazy.
a minute. You're doing what?
I know. I'm writing a book
When
about
did-
my grandfather.
You are.
Yes, it's called AKA Spoon.
AKA. Can you tell us a bit
Yes.
about your grandfather
Yes.
and your, you know,
So his name is Albert L. Witherspoon. Back to the Witherspoon. That's how the Witherspoon
Yeah.
Institute was formed in the first place.
okay.
Right. He was a maitre d' in Little Rock, Arkansas, back in the 20s and 30s.
Oh, shoot.
And not only did he have that on that side of town, right, but on the African American side of town, because at that time it was right. He had his own hotel.
Oh,
and
shoot.
dry cleaner and newspaper.
See?
And so he was like a really big business person.
Yes.
And so, but his whole philosophy was based on community, right? So he used
Isn't
to
that what
take the
yours is
food,
based on?
See what I'm saying? He used to take the food from the big hotel, and he would bring it home to the neighborhood, because now it's the Depression, and people
Yeah.
would be lined up around the
Lovely.
corner looking for food at Mr. Witherspoon's.
Wow.
That's the kind of man he was. Yeah.
Oh,
So I
that's
thought that was an
wonderful.
amazing story.
Yes,
Right?
it is.
It really was an amazing story because he was one of 13
Oh, my gosh.
and a very colorful family, right? One of them was a bootlegger, right? One of them was a doctor, right? One of them was a hitman.
What?
Yup, he was a businessman. One was a farmer. I mean, like they were a colorful clan. them
You are
Witherspoons.
not kidding.
I'm trying to tell you something. So I put that in a story based in Hot Springs, which is like an hour outside of Little Rock, which was a
Okay.
precursor to Las Vegas.
Oh.
It was like the first Las Vegas in America.
Really?
Yes, exactly. It had Bumpy John there, it had Al Capone. I mean, so it was a big place where the starlets went, where the mafia went, where the artists went. The Red Sox and all the baseball teams used to go there to do their spring training. Way before Florida, it was Springs where they all went.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. Very colorful town. So that was like an hour outside Little Rock. And my grandfather used to frequent that as a vacation spot. So I put a whole story around that, him and his
So
time.
is it like partially fiction and partially nonfiction?
Absolutely.
Or is it
No, it's a
totally-
novel. I call
It's
it a bio novel.
a bio-
Because it has
okay,
his
yeah.
story
Yeah,
interwoven
his
into
his
right.
storyline, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
So I have to get
what?
up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
You've been getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning to write your book
Yes. Before I go to work.
before you go to work.
Right. And then I come home and teach theater to the kids.
See what I'm saying?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do in my life.
All right, Miss Alda. I'm hearing it. I'm hearing it all.
Yes, indeed.
That is, oh my God, you just like, where is she? But when I saw you not for the first time, but when I saw you here for the first time, I said, I wonder what she's doing. Then you gave me the information, and I said, Institute? What is she doing? And of course, having not seen the play yet, which I'm
Yes.
going to see this year.
Yes.
And that's my job, my calendar. Definitely, I can't wait for your dates to come out
All
so I
right.
can come and see.
Yes.
Definitely. But I had that little piece.
Yes.
And that little piece really made me want to definitely come
Aw.
and see the entire play
Thank
because
you.
I think they're so beautiful.
Thank you.
They are, absolutely. So what's future? I mean, I know what you're doing.
Right.
And I know where you're at right now.
Yes.
But what's the future? What's the
Well-
future for you and the Institute?
Right. So, I mean, basically want to get Wise, finish Wise up, of course, which
yes.
will happen over the next year and a half.
Okay.
I want to take Onto This House on the road.
Right.
I want to get AKA Spoon finished. I
Finished.
finished it, but now I'm in editing.
Are you editing?
I'm editing. I'm doing another pass through to do editing, and I have select people I'm having read it
Okay.
to give me feedback. I
Feedback.
can incorporate, and then I'm going to take it to a publisher. So
All right.
get my book published, and then I'm going to turn that into a play and a
Oh.
movie. So that's what I'll be doing.
In a movie.
Yeah.
A play and a movie.
Yes.
Well, you realize, Wise,
Yes.
you realize this is a production. From what and things that I've seen and you've talked about. You know, that's also could be another shot at a movie.
It could be.
You know?
It could be. Absolutely
go.
could be. Yes, ma'am. So I want to move into TV and, you know, and movies. That would be the next generation.
Okay.
But I'll never leave theater.
Oh, I didn't think you would.
I love theater.
See, I know
There's
that.
nothing like that live energy. That
And
live
people
energy
being there,
is just
part of it.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because the energy comes from the audience.
Yes,
too.
yes. And
know,
every
it's
single
like
night is different.
Yes.
There is no two performances
That
ever.
are ever alike.
Never.
Of course not.
Yep.
You
So
know?
it's fantastic in that way. Yeah.
Because I remember when I went play, and I hadn't been to see this play in a very, very long time, and I went to see it, and I said, that's not what I remember. It's not what I remember. But it was quite interesting, you know?
It's different every time. It's different every time.
Absolutely.
Depends on the director, depends on the actors.
Actors,
I mean, it
thank you.
could change completely.
It can. It can.
Love
I'm going
it.
to ask you a question.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Do you have another piece hanging around in your head, poetry-wise, that you could give us?
Oh, right now? Oh, no. I don't have
I mean, you came up with that one.
I mean, I could sing a snippet of a song, maybe.
Really?
Sure.
Go ahead. Be my
You are so funny.
Be my guest.
Let's see. Should I do something original or should I do something that people will know?
Do something original.
Okay. This is your house. Hello, your home. Been away for far too long. Here the world won't treat you cold, won't make or break with measures, lay into your soul to mine the truth you treasure. On God's night, feel what's right. Let the wind, Jesus, begin to blow your mind. And this is yours, you see. That's from Under This House.
Oh my God. You sure I really know you?
You
Alda?
can sing.
No. I never knew you could sing.
You never knew I could sing?
Alda, I've never seen you sing.
You gotta be kidding me.
I'm not kidding you, baby girl. No.
What?
No.
Where you been, girl?
I don't know. Well, I ain't been there. I ain't not been there. Oh my God. Amazing.
So that's
Amazing.
along the line of the stuff that we did in Unto This House. You know, we have some fast songs, we got some gospel songs, you know, we
Oh,
got
nice.
some B, we got a couple of
You got
raps,
R&B
yeah, we got
in
some
there?
poetry. Oh yeah, we do the whole thing. Wow. We have some crumping.
What?
Harry Crumps.
Heritage Crumps? Are you serious?
I kid you not, girl. It's a rock'em sock'em time.
Oh,
It
yeah.
really is.
I'm
Yeah,
not.
it's interesting. I like to mix different mediums together.
Yes.
You know, to keep it interesting, keep it fresh. You never know what bag I'm getting ready to come out
You
of.
are
All of a
not
sudden,
kidding.
Whammo is there, you know. You have to keep them guessing.
That's true. Alda, amazing you are. Amazing. I am so happy for you. I don't know what else to say except you're amazing.
Aw,
And thank you for being with me today
absolutely.
on Artists of Color.
Thank
I
you
want
for having
everyone
me.
everyone who's in the sound of my voice and watching this show live, this has been Alda Marshall Witherspoon, an amazing person, an amazing sister, and a beautiful woman. I have to say that.
Thank you.
I am so happy and proud of you.
Aw.
Go ahead, girl. Do your thing. And I want to thank you again for being with me today.
Absolutely.
And I
People
wanna
visit my website?
Oh, yes, go.
At
Tell.
www.thewitherspooninstitute.net.
Okay.
Boom.
We got it. Please visit her and be looking out for Unto This.
Yes.
And thank you, everyone.
Good morning, children. Good morning, Daddy. Yes, good morning. What wonders of the world do the Magi bring? From all across the city do they rise to sing. The glorious marvels of wishes and wisdom are a song sung on every tongue. Beautiful.